Alright, let's do this. Time to feed the viewers, put this content out. Okay, alright. Oh, by the way, hello viewers. Another beautiful day. Hope your five senses work, health and strength is good. Or excellent. Okay for you path tracing lovers. I got system requirements for F125. Yeah. Says forget path tracing. It's hardware requirement for F125 or too high to consider using. But anyway, what do we got here? RTX 5080 or for 1080p? Question mark. F125 path tracing system requirements are nuts. Yeah, like I told you guys before, months ago, even years now, I told you, ray tracing is dead. Anyway, says here, last month EA confirmed that F125 would feature Ultra Max graphical preset that brings path tracing to the series. Detailed PC system requirements are now available for the game, unveiling the hardware needed to run F125 with path tracing. Simply put, it looks like this racer path tracing mode is too demanding to consider using. That sounds like a bunch of excuse. You know, you PC gamers know you got to keep your PCs up to date if you want to run it. Anyway, it says here at 1080p with upscaling in quality mode, NVIDIA RTX 5080 and RTX 4080 Supers are recommended for 60 FPS gameplay. On the AMD side, their RX 7900 XTX is recommended. Typically, these GPU target higher resolution, and we wouldn't expect any gamer with these GPUs to be running games at 1080p. These GPUs can run F125 at 4K with ray tracing enabled. Adding path tracing brings these high-end GPUs to their knees. Yeah, ray tracing is dead, man. I try to warn you guys, but anyway, says here F125 Ultra Max mode improve lighting and reflection by adding a more bounce lighting. This enables reflections of reflection and allow more ambient light to enter partially shadowed areas. This makes games look more realistic, bringing F125 much closer to reality. However, the hardware demands of this mode are simply too high. If the specifications below are correct, and only an RTX 5090 user can use F125 Ultra Max mode at high resolution and frame rates. Says here, thankfully F125 ray tracing features are optional. If you own lower end hardware, you can still play F125. However, if you want to max this game out, you will need an insanely powerful gaming PC. Perhaps EA is targeting next generation GPUs with this path tracing mode. That said, I expect F126 to launch long before the next generation of graphics cards. Ready? Alright, here go the specs. Let's see if I can increase the fonts here. See what we got. Ready? Alright. Judges. Alright, let's do this. Okay, first things first. 1080p at 60 FPS. Right? We got two settings. For low, we got Intel Core i6. Let's see, we got the Intel Core i6 6400, AMD Ryzen 3 1200, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, AMD GPUs, AMD RX 570, Intel Arc A360. Video RAM is 6 gigs, RAM is 8 gigs, and it says rebar 3200 MTS SRAM. Resolution is 1920 by 1060, and then it says native for the upscaler, and ray tracing off. And then it says for high at 1080p 60 FPS. Intel Core i5 9600K, AMD Ryzen 5 2600X, RTX 2070, RTX 5060, and then for RX 6600 XT, Intel Arc A750. Video RAM is 8 gigs, RAM is 16 gigs, and then resolution is 1920 by 1080, and then upscaler is native, and ray tracing off. Alright, now For virtual reality, 2Ki at 90 FPS. Preset is high. Intel CPU is NA. AMD CPU is Ryzen 5 2600X. NVIDIA GPU is RTX 3080 Ti /RTX 5080. And then for AMD it's the RX 7900 XT. And for Intel it's NA. Video RAM is 8 gigs. RAM is 16 gigs. Resolution is 2K/EYE. And then upscaler is native. And then ray tracing off. Alright. Now for performance, 1440p. Preset is high. CPU is Intel Core i5 12600K. AMD Ryzen 5 7600X. RTX 3080/RTX 5070 Ti. RX 6800 XT. Intel Arc B580. 12 gigs of video RAM. 16 gigs of regular RAM. That's random access memory. And then you have resolution is 2560 by 1440. Upscaler is native. And then ray tracing off. Alright. Now for quality, 4K at 60 FPS. Ultra high. Intel Core i5 10600K. AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. RTX 3080 Ti/RTX 5080. AMD RX 7900 XTX. Intel Arc B580. 16 gigs of video RAM. 16 gigs of regular RAM. That's the RAM on the motherboard. What's this? 3840 by 2160. Upscaler is quality. And ray tracing on. Right? Okay. Now for 8K. For you 8K gamers. 8K for 8K is 8K at 60 FPS. Ultra high. Core i5 12600K. Ryzen 5 7600X. RTX 4090/RTX 5090. AMD GPU NA. Intel GPU NA. Video RAM is 24 gigs. RAM is 34 gigs. Video RAM is the RAM that comes on the video card. But the RAM, the 32 gigs of RAM is the RAM on the motherboard. Alright. Now, resolution is 7680 by 4320. Balance, upscaler is balance plus FG. And then ray tracing on. Now, for path tracing now, we're talking 1080p at 60 FPS. Ultramax. That's the Core i5 12600. Ryzen 5 7600X. RTX 4080 Super /RTX 5080. RX 7900 XTX. On the Intel side, it's N8. The video RAM is 16. The RAM on the board, that's 16. Resolution is 1920 by 1080. Upscaler is quality, and then ray tracing you got path tracer, and those are the system requirements for F125. So, you desktop PC gamers, you know the drill and the rules. The same goes for you laptop gamers. You know the drill and the rules. And you portable PCs, I mean you handheld gamers, you know the rules too. You're not exempt. So, yeah. Those are the system requirements to run F125, so if you got a portable PC with an Oculink port, and meaning that you have a GPU already inside the handheld, but you got an Oculink port for extra GPU, you can go that route. On the laptop, it's the same thing. Desktop is the same thing, but internally on desktops, you can put 2 to 3, even 4, depending on the card, depending on how you build your PC. So yeah, when it comes to running games on desktop, man, you know the rules. You know, you got to stay ahead of the game. You can't sit there waiting for information like, am I qualified to run this? You know, you got to be ahead of the game, man. When it comes to desktop, you know, that means you get a board that holds like, say, I don't know, say about 128 gigs of RAM on it, just or 100 or 64 gigs of RAM on it, just for starters. Just saying, you know, got to get you a nice video card, yeah. You know, get your RAM, get you a nice SSD, oh yeah, Blu-ray drive, read, rewrite, all that, oh yeah, nice case, and oh yeah, build your PCs, man. So when it comes to running games on PC, you have to stay ahead of the game, man. Yeah, you know, with a console, it's dedicated. It's dedicated, because what you get in the box is what you get in the box, and you can only utilize the games, you know, so far, you know. But on PC now, you can build your PC to whatever specs you want. So yeah. So when it comes to gaming on PC, man, you have to stay ahead of the game, man. You have to. You know? That's why you see those people when the new the high-end AMD cards and Nvidia cards or Intel cards came out. They were trying to get those cards because they know they need them to run today's game. You know, because they're trying to stay ahead of the game. So yeah, that's how it goes, man. So got to stay on top of it, man. You know, to enjoy games on PC, you know. So yeah, that way you're not, you know, that way you're not behind when it comes to like playing games on PC. You know, that's like with a console, they you know, most people go buy a Xbox Series X. You know, real hardcore console gamers, they go buy an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 because they know what they're getting. You know, so, you know, the Series S is for like you know, people with a lower budget, but for real hardcore gamers, they know they got to go with the PS5 and the Series X. Yeah, yeah, to run today's games, man. Yeah, so that's how it is, man. But on PC, yeah. You have to stay ahead of the game, man. You know, research the board. You know, when you buy a motherboard that has a serial number on it, research it. See how much of RAM, what's the max amount of RAM it can hold. The CPU, the board that you get, it can hold another CPU, a higher end CPU. So, got to research that, yeah, and then take it from there. But when it comes to these graphics cards, man, you got to spend some bread, man. You know, if you want to game with the elites, you know, the elites don't like excuses when it comes to PC gaming, man. They want the best, and they're willing to spend some serious money on their PCs, man. So yeah, that's how it is, man. When you see streamers like who can I think of? Say who can I think of? It's a good streamer. Let's say Ninja for a minute. He's spending about $10,000 on a good gaming PC, man. That's just baseline, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just to play today's games, you know. Yeah, you gotta spend some money, man. Oh yeah. So if you wanna play with the best, can't play conservative with PC. Gotta be able to spend, man. 8 gigs, nah. 12 gigs, nah. 24 gigs, 8 gigs, was it 8 gigs, 16, 32, double that, man. Make that 64. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. You know, put a good graphics card in there and just get gaming. Yeah, get you a nice screen too while you at it. You know? Oh, yeah. PC games, man. You have to stay on top of things. Yeah, get you a nice keyboard where you can rest your hand, like the ergonomic ones. stretch your fingers. Yeah, and your reaction, your timing, your reaction speed got to be quick. Oh yeah. Anyway, but that's it, man, on F125 though. Yeah. And so get your PCs ready for it. You F1 lovers. Or you can you can build, you know what too, you could build the like the racing what they call that, the racing like the racing wheels. You can build them where you have the seat, and then you have the stick shift, and then you have the steering wheel. And yeah, you can build that if you got the space for it, you know. So yeah. But when it comes to playing games on PC, man, you got to be ready to spend some money. You know? When you see console gamers crying over $700, you just got to shake your head. You're like, PC gamers, they spend money, man. Yeah, that's how it goes. You know? So yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, the Star Wars Search Thing, Vortex X. Peace.